Listen to the silence. Just for a second, close your eyes and listen to the absolute vibrating silence that falls over an arena right before a blockbuster fight. We are in Stuttgart, Germany at the prestigious Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, but make no mistake, the atmosphere inside the stadium right now feels like a heavyweight championship fight in Las Vegas. The lights are dimmed, the air is thick with anticipation. You can smell the freshly swept red clay, a scent that signals to every true tennis fan that we have officially entered the most grueling, demanding, and beautiful phase of the calendar. This is not just a regular stop on the WTA Tour. This is a gauntlet. You look at the entry list and it is an absolute murderer's row of tennis royalty. Iga Swiatek, the undisputed queen of the dirt, is prowling the grounds looking invincible. Coco Gauff, the American sensation, is here with a vengeance, ready to do absolute damage. Elena Rybakina, with her thunderous, earth-shattering power. Jasmine Paolini, riding the wave of her absolute life. And the defending champion, Yelena Ostapenko, ready to blast opponents straight through the back fence. It is a field so stacked that an opening round match feels like a Grand Slam semifinal. But right now, under the bright glare of the center court lights, the entire tennis world is completely zeroed in on one specific matchup. We are talking about a mouth-watering, heart-stopping, must-watch clash that has the locker room whispering and the fans completely on the edge of their seats. It is a collision of youth and experience. It is raw, surging, unstoppable momentum going head-to-head with battle-tested, blood-and-guts grit. In one corner, you have the absolute phenom, the fast-rising superstar, Alex Eala. In the other corner, you have the warrior from Canada, the 2021 US Open finalist, who knows exactly what it takes to slay giants on the biggest stages in the world, Leylah Fernandez. If you consider yourself a fan of high IQ tennis, of tactical baseline warfare, of left-handed shot-making that literally bends the laws of physics and defies geometry, you need to cancel your plans, lock your doors, and grab your popcorn because you are not going to want to miss a single millisecond of this absolute classic. This is not just a match. This is a masterclass waiting to happen. And to truly understand the massive stakes of this encounter, we have to start by analyzing the battleground itself. This is not your typical grinding, wind-blown, outdoor European clay. This is Stuttgart. This is indoor red clay. It is a completely unique, incredibly rare beast on the professional tour, and it completely changes the rules of engagement. Think about it. When you play on clay in Rome or Paris, you are fighting a war on multiple fronts. You are fighting your opponent, yes, but you are also fighting the elements. You are dealing with swirling winds that blow your ball off course. You are staring directly into the blinding sun on your service toss. You are dealing with heavy, humid days where the ball feels like a wet medicine ball. And dry, hot days where the court turns into an absolute ice rink. But here in Stuttgart, inside this arena, the elements are eliminated. The climate is perfectly controlled. There is no wind. There is no sun glare. The slickness of this specific red dirt, combined with the pristine indoor conditions, creates a surface that plays significantly faster, lower, and more aggressively than any other clay court on the planet. It is pure, unadulterated precision tennis. It rewards absolute ball strikers. It rewards players who can take the ball on the rise and hit through the court. And that specific controlled environment gives us our very first major, game-changing dynamic to analyze. Who does this surface favor? If we look at the immediate context, Alex Eala carries a distinct, tangible, massive advantage into this match right out of the gate. Why? Because while Leylah Fernandez has been grinding over in North America, playing on hard courts in the green clay of South Carolina, Eala was already boots on the ground in Europe last week. She was already lacing up her clay court shoes. She was already sliding around on the indoor dirt of Linz. She has already calibrated her footwork. She has already felt exactly how the ball bites, how it grips, and how it kicks off this specific indoor surface. She has the physical reps. She has the muscle memory. Fernandez, on the other hand, is stepping onto the European indoor clay for the very first time this entire season. In professional tennis, a sport where matches are decided by fractions of a second, by micro-adjustments, and by millimeters of court positioning, that acclimatization period is an absolute mountain to climb. Eala has the head start. But listen to me very carefully. Do not ever, under any circumstances, count Leylah Fernandez out on the dirt. Do not do it. While Eala might have the immediate environmental edge from last week, Leylah Fernandez is an absolute, unquestionable clay court dog. She loves the dirt. She understands the geometry of the clay better than almost anyone in her generation. While Alex Eala prefers to stand tall, plant her feet, hit incredibly heavy flat balls, and rarely ventures forward to the net, Fernandez views the clay court as her own personal canvas. She knows exactly how to use the dirt to her supreme advantage. Leylah's ability to slide perfectly into her shots, to defend the extreme corners of the court, to absorb massive pace, and brilliantly redirect it down the line is world-class. She knows how to dig in deep. She knows how to get her uniform completely dirty. She knows how to suffer, and more importantly, she knows how to make her opponents suffer. She will force you to play one extra ball, then another, until your legs feel like lead and your lungs are absolutely burning. Let us break down the absolute phenom that is Alex Eala. Still just 20 years old, she is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most terrifying, fast-rising, lethal players on the women's tour right now. If you have been living under a rock and haven't been paying attention to her trajectory, it is time to wake up because she is coming for the top of the game with a completely fearless attitude. Just look at the absolute tear she has been on. She played a sunshine double over in the United States that had the entire tennis world completely speechless. Picture the scene at Indian Wells, the California desert, the 5th Grand Slam. Eala steps onto the stadium court and absolutely shocks the world by taking down the reigning US Open champion, Coco Gauff, in a match that defied belief. Let that sink in for a second. Taking out Coco Gauff, the golden girl of American tennis, on an American hard court, in front of a roaring American crowd, takes serious, undeniable firepower and ice-cold nerve. She stood toe-to-toe with one of the greatest athletes in the sport and hit her straight off the court, and she did not stop there. She did not suffer a letdown. She packed her bags, flew across the country to the brutal humidity of Miami, and marched right into the 4th round again. She was dismantling tour veterans. She was sending players like Magda Linette and Laura Siegemund to the locker room wondering what just hit them, before finally succumbing to the incredibly tricky, all-court mastery of Karolina Muchova. Before that American swing, Eala was making massive waves in the Middle East, securing a brilliant quarterfinal run at the WTA 1000 event in Dubai, and she kicked off her entire year by making the semifinals in New Zealand. Her form is electric. Her confidence is absolutely through the roof of the stadium. She is stepping onto the court right now, knowing, not hoping, but knowing that she can trade heavy blows with the absolute elite top 5 players of the sport. But, and this is a massive looming but, there is a ghost in the machine. There is a psychological demon that Alex Eala is still desperately trying to exorcise from her game. And we saw it rear its incredibly ugly head just last week in Linz. Tennis is a sport played on a 78-foot court, but everyone knows the real battlefield is the 6 inches between the ears. Eala won her opening match in Linz looking sharp, looking dangerous, looking like a dark horse to win the whole tournament. Then she faced Jelena Ostapenko. For a set and a half, Eala was putting on a clinic. She was playing beautiful, devastating tennis. She was up a double break. She was leading 5-1 in the second set. The finish line was not just in sight. She was practically touching the tape. She was serving for the match. And then the absolute unthinkable happened. The wheels did not just fall off the wagon. The wagon completely exploded. Eala froze. Her footwork stopped. Her arm got tight. Ostapenko, sensing the fear, started swinging freely, absolutely crushing the ball, and Eala lost 6 consecutive games to lose the set and ultimately the match in straight sets, 6 games in a row, a total, unmitigated mental collapse. And here is the terrifying part for Eala and her coaching team. This is not an isolated incident. This is not a one-time fluke. She has developed a highly dangerous, heart-stopping habit of going on these heavy, catastrophic losing streaks within matches. We saw her drop 5, 6, 7 games in a row against Coco Gauff in Dubai before managing to pull it out. We saw the exact same disturbing pattern against Linda Noskova in Indian Wells. When the pressure mounts, when the scoreboard gets tight, when the momentum shifts even slightly, Eala sometimes completely loses her footing and forgets how to win. Against a relentless, never-say-die, absolute street fighter like Leylah Fernandez, dropping your focus for even 5 minutes is an absolute death sentence. Fernandez will smell the blood in the water, and she will absolutely bury you. Now, let us turn our absolute attention to the Canadian warrior, Leylah Fernandez. We all remember the pure magic of 2021. We remember the roaring, deafening crowds inside Arthur Ashe Stadium under the New York night sky. We remember the giant-slaying run to the US Open final. We remember the fearless, smiling, electric teenager who took the entire sport by storm and captured the hearts of millions. But professional tennis is a brutal, unforgiving business. Since that magical run in New York, it has been an absolute roller coaster journey for Fernandez. She has dealt with nagging, frustrating injuries. She has dealt with the suffocating, crushing pressure of immense global expectations. She has had to completely reinvent her game, tweak her serve, and find new ways to win. Coming into Stuttgart tonight, Leylah's form is frankly a massive question mark. She has not had the blistering, headline-grabbing start to the year that Alex Eala has enjoyed. Leylah played on the green clay in Charleston recently, getting a very solid confidence-boosting win over Polina Kudermetova, but then she ran into an absolute brick wall, losing in straight sets to the heavy-hitting, immensely powerful Diana Schneider in the round of 16. Before that, her sunshine double was deeply, deeply frustrating. It was an absolute grind. An early exit in Indian Wells, losing a grueling, punishing 3-set war to Katerina Siniakova, followed by a tremendously tough second-round draw in Miami, where she was dispatched in straight sets by the American number 1, Jessica Pegula. Eala is searching for her rhythm. She is looking for her timing. She is hungry, maybe even desperate for a deep, statement-making run to ignite her season and remind the locker room exactly who she is. And let me tell you something, a high-profile, prime-time matchup against a hyped, surging youngster like Eala on a massive stage in Stuttgart under the bright lights might be exactly the spark that the Canadian needs to catch fire and play her best tennis. When we look at the tactical matchup, when we really get into the X's and O's of this clash, the absolute most fascinating element of this entire match is the lefty dynamic. They are both left-handed. Now, on the professional tour, lefties are incredibly spoiled. They are totally used to having an inherent geographical advantage against 90% of the locker room. They are used to sliding their slice serve out wide on the ad court to literally pull right-handed players into the doubles alley. They are used to hitting their heavy, ripping top-spin forehands cross-court, so the ball bounces violently high up into their opponent's weaker backhand side. They build their entire careers on exploiting right-handed players, but when two lefties step onto the court against each other, the mirror shatters. The illusion breaks. All those geographical, built-in advantages completely cancel out. It is like two southpaw boxers stepping into the ring. It becomes awkward. It becomes a pure, unadulterated test of shot tolerance, heavy hitting, and mental toughness. Both of these women love to play first-strike tennis. They both absolutely refuse to give up real estate. They both like to step inside the baseline, take the ball incredibly early on the absolute rise, and completely rob their opponent of time. This match is going to be played entirely inside the baseline. It is going to be fast. It is going to be furious. It is going to be relentlessly aggressive. Neither player wants to be pushed back into the fences. Let us talk about the serve and the return, because make no mistake, this is the battleground where this match will ultimately be won or lost. Serving is the undeniable Achilles heel of Alex Eala's game right now. It is the biggest glaring weakness she carries on. The professional tour. Now, to give total credit where credit is due, she has put in the absolute grueling hours on the practice court. She has revamped her motion, and we have seen some marginal positive improvements over the last 6 months. She is trying desperately to get more pop, more free points, more pinpoint placement, but when the match gets tight under immense scoreboard pressure, it is still a massive liability. Leylah Fernandez is not exactly hitting Serena Williams-level 120 miles per hour bombs out there, either. She is not known for overwhelming, unreturnable power on her serve, but technically, fundamentally, she is by far the better server of the two. She hits her spots with absolute surgical precision. She uses slice and kick spin much more effectively to open up the court, and she has a significantly higher tennis IQ when it comes to constructing the point off her own racket. She plays chess with her serve. But here is the massive counterpunch. Where Eala loses serious ground on the serve, she makes up for it entirely with an absolutely lethal, world-class return game. Alex Eala is a spectacular, terrifying returner of serve. She has lightning-fast reflexes that belong in a different sport. She has brilliant, elite eye-hand coordination, and she absolutely, mercilessly punishes weak second serves. If a ball sits up in her strike zone, she does not just return it. She attempts to destroy the felt on the ball. I would give Eala the heavy edge in the return dynamic all day long. If Fernandez does not maintain a very high first serve percentage, if she drops below 60%, Eala is going to step completely inside the baseline, take the ball on the dead run, and rip those second serves right past Leylah's ankles before she even finishes her service motion. Then we come to movement, the dance of the tennis court. If this match were being played on a hard court in New York or Melbourne, I would lean heavily towards Eala. Her straight-line speed, her explosive first step, her ability to go from 0 to 60 in a split second is absolutely phenomenal. But we are not on cement. We are on the dirt, and on clay, movement is a completely different art form. It is not about sprinting, it is about balance. It is about understanding the slide. It is about accelerating into the corners and recovering your center of gravity while the earth is literally moving beneath your feet. In this specific department, the pendulum swings heavily, violently back to Leylah Fernandez. Her defensive capabilities on a clay court are vastly superior to where Eala is at right now in her young career. Leylah can be stretched completely out wide, sliding in a full split on her left foot, completely off balance, and still manage to flick her wrist and hook a heavy, dipping top-spin passing shot right down the line. It is magic. Eala is definitely improving her clay court movement, as we saw in those brilliant, devastating patches of dominance against Ostapenko and Linz, but she simply does not have the natural, ingrained, built-in clay court instincts that Fernandez possesses in her DNA. If we look at the broader picture, if we zoom out and look at the tournament draw, the stakes for this first-round match become incredibly massive. Eala and Fernandez are sitting in an absolutely brutal, unforgiving section of the bracket. The winner of this absolute war will move on to face either a dangerous, match-tough qualifier or the red-hot, flying Italian, Jasmine Paolini. And do not forget the recent history there. If Eala manages to win this match, she might actually be licking her chops in the locker room to play Paolini, because Eala completely destroyed Paolini in straight sets just a couple of months ago during the Middle East swing. Eala knows without a doubt she has the pure firepower to overpower the Italian. But looking ahead is the ultimate fatal trap in professional tennis. You cannot look past the opponent in front of you. You certainly cannot look past a Grand Slam finalist like Leylah Fernandez. If you look ahead, you are already on your flight home. There is also a beautiful, fascinating layer of deep mutual respect hovering over this matchup. These two incredible athletes have never played each other in a professional match. This is a first-time encounter, a maiden voyage, which adds an incredible, palpable layer of total unpredictability to the night. Neither player has actually felt the absolute weight of the other's ball on their racket strings. They have only seen each other on television, but there is a massive connection. I actually spoke to Alex Eala late last year behind the scenes and asked her straight up about the constant, never-ending comparisons people make between her and Leylah Fernandez in the media. Because let's be honest, the similarities are completely undeniable. They are both lefties. They are both fiercely competitive. They both play with unbelievable intensity. They are both looking to take the ball impossibly early on the rise to suffocate their opponents. And Eala's response to me was pure, absolute class. She said she had not really heard the comparisons before, but she was deeply, genuinely flattered by them. She spoke openly about the massive respect she has for Leylah, specifically referencing that legendary 2021 U.S. Open run. Eala looks across the net at Fernandez and sees the exact kind of Grand Slam breakthrough that she herself is desperately chasing every single day in practice. So what exactly happens when the surging student meets the established player she admires? What happens when a rapidly rising, incredibly dangerous youngster with absolutely everything to gain and nothing to lose steps onto the slippery clay against a proven, battle-tested Grand Slam finalist who is completely desperate to reclaim her rightful spot at the very top of the sport? Does Eala's recent momentum, her unbelievable sunshine double confidence, and her crucial familiarity with the indoor clay carry her through the storm? Can she keep her mind right? Can she stay in the present moment, completely avoid those disastrous, match-ending 5-game losing streaks, and use her lethal, punishing return game to break Leylah down from the baseline? Or does Leylah Fernandez simply dig her heels deep into the red dirt? Does she use her superior balletic clay court sliding, utilize her unmatched grit, look the younger player in the eye, and drag Eala into the deep, dark waters of a deciding set to drown her in a brutal, physical 3-set war of attrition? This is not just a tennis match, ladies and gentlemen. This is a high-speed chess game played at 100 miles per hour. It is brutal, unforgiving baseline trench warfare. It is the absolute beauty and awkwardness of the lefty-lefty dynamic, the heavy spin, the impossible angles, the raw, unedited emotion on full display for the world to see. We have a completely packed, sold-out arena in Stuttgart. The VIPs are in the boxes. The slick indoor red clay is perfectly groomed. And we have two of the most exciting, dynamic, fiercely aggressive shotmakers in the entire women's game walking out of the tunnel right now, ready to lay absolutely everything on the line. The winner takes a massive, confidence-boosting step toward a potential title run in one of the most prestigious, coveted events of the entire calendar year. The loser packs their bags, heads back to the hotel, and travels to Madrid with a bitter lingering taste of early disappointment. The players are at the net. The coin is being tossed. The warm-up is about to begin. Strap yourselves in, turn the volume all the way up, get to the edge of your seat, and whatever you do,